It is wise to distance yourself from those who ask these things of you. There is a timeless teaching that says an unobserved mind becomes a chaotic master, shaping your life while you believe it to be destiny. Welcome. Here, we explore the deep truths that foster clarity and inner strength. Today's insight is a foundational one. Your stillness, your life force, and your attention are sacred ground. Certain things people may ask of you can, if you permit them, quietly disrupt your spirit and divert you from your journey. In our time together, we will explore 5 requests no one should make of you, and why establishing firm boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but a practice of self-preservation essential for your growth. Have you ever felt that someone's demands have disturbed your inner quiet? Or sensed that you were offering too much of yourself, too frequently, while your own well was running dry? Share your reflections below, and let us learn from one another's journey to protect our inner peace. If this insight resonates with you, consider sharing it, so that we may all walk this path of mindful living together. 1. You have traveled too far to be pulled back by another storm. You have journeyed too far, weathered too much, and grown through challenge, stillness, and quiet awakenings to allow yourself to be dragged backward into another person's unresolved turbulence. At this point on your path, emotional endurance is no longer the goal. What matters now is spiritual fortitude. Ancient wisdom guides us to understand that growth requires a gentle separation from that which no longer nurtures the spirit. This means mindfully stepping away from those who mistake your compassion for an obligation, expecting you to carry burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. You are not an emergency service for another's emotional volatility. You are not a lifeline for those who refuse to learn to swim. Some will grasp for you each time they find themselves in deep water, yet never practice how to stay afloat. They do not seek a cure, they seek a temporary distraction. They do not seek to transform, they seek ease. And that ease is often purchased at the cost of your stillness, your focus, and your own forward momentum. When you perpetually rescue others from the consequences of their own choices, you abandon your own path. It is not cold to step back. It is an act of deep self-respect. Some will not ask for your life force directly. Instead, they will use guilt to take it. They might speak of things they have done for you, of a perceived loyalty you owe, or of how you lack compassion for needing your own space. But guilt is a silent drain on the spirit. It is emotional imbalance disguised as a duty. Timeless teachings warn us about the ways others can cast their own unhealed turmoil onto us, then look to us to mend what was never broken by our hand. The moment a connection starts to feel like a cage, a debt, or a binding contract, it has ceased to be a true connection. It has become a form of control. And control is the very opposite of authentic relationship. There are also those who do not value your presence, only your accessibility. They want your time, but not your truth. They do not seek your inner world, only your function. They appear when it serves them and vanish when you require something genuine. The more you are available to them, the more they will expect it, not appreciate it. Your attention is sacred. Each moment you give to those who drain you is a moment taken from your life's purpose. Choose stillness over empty interactions. Choose presence over performance. You owe no one a justification for guarding your own inner wellspring. Perhaps the most challenging expectation is the one that asks you to dim your own light, to make yourself smaller so that others do not feel unsettled in their own shadow. Your inner peace is not an act of arrogance. You are not responsible for another's unease in the presence of your own growth. The right people, the ones whose spirits are aligned with yours, will never ask you to choose between your path and their comfort. They will not require you to remain unchanged so that they can avoid their own journey of evolution. They will grow with you, not resent you for your transformation. True wisdom lies in knowing when to walk away, not with bitterness, but from a profound understanding that your life force is your own responsibility. You were not brought into this world to bear the weight of everyone else's unhealed life. You were brought here to become centered and whole, and that wholeness requires clear boundaries and the courage to uphold them. If this resonates, affirm this in the comments. I release what is not mine to carry. If you are ready to guard your peace and honor your journey, let this be your inner declaration. Your life force is sacred, and your path deserves to be walked with lightness, not heavy burdens. 2. Do not accept responsibility for that which is not yours. Taking on problems that do not belong to you can appear as a noble act, but with time, it quietly reshapes you into someone's emotional caretaker, unpaid, unseen, and utterly drained. What begins as a small kindness, a gesture of support, soon hardens into a one-sided duty. You begin to carry an emotional weight not meant for your journey. And as they feel lighter, you feel increasingly heavy. That is not compassion, that is a quiet form of self-abandonment. In many relationships, especially those rooted in emotional dependency, people learn to use guilt to convince others to carry their discomfort. They don't state it plainly, but their tone, their words, "You're the only one who understands," can make you feel accountable for their inner state. But you are not. You were never meant to be the answer to someone else's resistance to their own growth. Carrying what is not yours leads to fatigue, quiet resentment, and a gradual disconnection from your own inner guidance. Reflect on how often you've absorbed another's crisis to maintain a fragile peace, sacrificing your own rest or stillness. This is not empathy, it is a repetitive pattern. And this pattern teaches others to demand your availability instead of valuing it. Ancient wisdom teaches us that you are defined by your actions, not by your intentions. And if your primary action is to overextend for others while neglecting your own path, you begin to live a life for others, not as your true self. The modern world sometimes glorifies a kind of selflessness that has no limits. But at what cost? If being present for others consistently requires you to be absent for yourself, the connection is unbalanced. An unbalanced relationship is not a true one, it is a form of emotional servitude. You may find yourself in quiet struggle, tired not from weakness, but because your life force has been misdirected for far too long. This misalignment often goes undetected until your body speaks exhaustion, tension, frustration, or a pervasive sense of being out of sync. These are not arbitrary feelings. They are signals that your life force is being expended where it doesn't belong. The solution is not to give more, it is to draw back. When you refuse to carry what is not yours, you are not being harsh or unkind. You are practicing energetic integrity. You are reclaiming the space needed for your own journey. Saying no does not make you hard, it makes you clear. It communicates to the universe that you are no longer a repository for others' emotional clutter. It communicates to your inner self that you are worthy of protection. When you begin to treat your life force as sacred, which it is, everything shifts. Those who stayed only because you shouldered their burdens will fade away. And those who honor your boundaries will remain. That is how you recognize your own healing. Are you ready to stop holding what was never yours to carry? If so, comment below. I release what's not mine, to affirm this choice to protect your inner world and reclaim your energy. 3. Offering money from a place of guilt can be a subtle trap. Loaning funds out of a sense of obligation is one of the easiest traps to enter and one of the most difficult to leave. It begins simply a small favor, a little assistance, but it can quickly become a cycle, not because the need itself is endless, but because the expectation of your giving grows. What you initially offered as compassion slowly transforms into a silent agreement you never intended to make. Often, it is those closest to us who create this emotional entanglement. They know where you are gentle, and they know how to appeal to it. In that moment, saying no ceases to be about the money. It becomes tied to your identity as a kind person, a good son, a caring friend. The guilt surfaces, wrapping around you like a chain disguised as affection. But true kindness does not flow from a sacrifice that leaves your own well empty. It does not demand that you abandon your own stillness to rescue another from the natural results of their own choices. When people repeatedly ask for financial help, particularly without any evidence of change or accountability, it is rarely just about the money. It is about access to your emotional reserves, your time, and your feeling of obligation. This is often sustained by manipulation, the silent threat of their disappointment, the dramatic retelling of stories, the subtle mentions of everything they have done for you. These are not simple requests, they are unspoken demands. There is an old saying, people will go to great lengths to avoid facing their own spirit. This includes shifting responsibility onto those who are too compassionate to refuse. When you give from a place of guilt, you are not simply giving money. You are supporting avoidance. You are permitting others to postpone their own growth while you carry their burden. That burden accumulates emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It may begin to disrupt your sleep, your focus, your own sense of stability. You may feel a growing resentment while still feeling trapped, still unable to speak. Then comes the backlash. When you finally say no, the facade may drop. You might be called selfish, uncaring, or ungrateful. Not because you've done wrong, but because you've broken an unhealthy cycle. You have removed their convenient solution, and people who have relied on your guilt do not react well to newfound boundaries. They may lash out, not because you are wrong, but because you are no longer useful to them in that specific way. Your life force is not a currency to be spent on emotional debts. Your life is not a rescue mission for those unwilling to grow. True connection respects limits. True relationship honors mutual effort. If someone's affection is conditional on your compliance, then their affection is a performance, not a truth. Protect your inner quiet. Say no without needing to over-explain. And remember, to help someone does not mean you must save them. You can offer support without surrendering your own foundation. You can care from a distance, because your inner stability is not a commodity to be traded for approval. Your peace is worth more than anyone's temporary comfort. If this speaks to your spirit, you can affirm to yourself, I protect my peace. I value my boundaries. I am free from the guilt of saying no. Let this be your declaration of freedom. 4. Do not entangle yourself in the conflicts of others. At times, the greatest expression of care is to refuse to be pulled into another person's battle, especially when that battle is rooted in family disputes, inheritance issues, or old resentments passed down through generations. You are not here to be a peace treaty between people who are committed to their misunderstanding. You are not the healer of wounds you did not inflict. A timeless piece of wisdom suggests that the unfulfilled paths of our ancestors can become the quiet burdens of the next generation. In many families, this burden appears as emotional pressure disguised as duty. You are asked to mend what others have broken, to carry the weight of imbalance simply because you were born into it. But your origin does not make it your responsibility to repair. When someone pressures you to choose a side in a conflict that is not your own, they are asking you to trade your clarity for their chaos. They may frame it as a cry for help, just speak to them for me, or you're the only one they respect. But beneath the surface, it is often a trap, one that will place you at the center of the blame when things do not resolve. These emotional entanglements do not arrive with offers of peace. They arrive with unspoken expectations, divided loyalties, and the steady erosion of your own boundaries. The truth is, many people do not seek resolution. They seek validation for their own narrative. If you offer your presence, they may drain your spirit to sustain their story. You must understand that protecting your inner quiet is not an act of betrayal. It is an act of survival. Maintaining your emotional neutrality does not make you heartless. It makes you wise. Because any connection that demands your silence in the face of ongoing discord is not love. It is a form of control. You can wish another well and still walk away. You can hope for their healing and still refuse to be the adhesive holding broken things together. Your life force is sacred. When you allow guilt to override your intuition, you surrender that energy to struggles that do not deserve it. Choosing to distance yourself from such conflict is not cruel, it is clarity. Not everyone has earned access to your inner space. You do not need to apologize for refusing to be the messenger, the mediator, or the martyr. In fact, your refusal to play these roles may be the most powerful statement you can make. Some people only begin their own healing journey when they lose the person who was always trying to fix things for them. You do not owe your inner peace to anyone. Let them misunderstand you. Let them call you selfish. Their words are not your reality. Silence, in this case, is protection. You are not here to be consumed by inherited pain. You are here to grow, to breathe, and to live, free from the noise of others' unresolved issues. So, the next time you are being pulled into an emotional battlefield, ask yourself one question: is this mine to carry? If the answer is no, set it down. Walk away, not in anger, but in wisdom. Your peace is not a gift to be handed over to people who have not earned your presence. It is a boundary, and you have every right to protect it. If you are ready to guard your inner world, share this insight with others who may need it. Let us stand together in wisdom and emotional freedom. 5. Do not allow anyone to ask you to become someone you are not. People may ask you to alter your very being, your daily practices, your way of speaking, even your deepest values, simply to make them feel more comfortable. This is not a request for harmony, it is a form of emotional pressure. And when it comes from those closest to us, the hurt feels different, because deep down, we may believe we owe them our silence, our compliance, and our constant emotional sacrifice. But this belief is a chain, not a truth. You are not meant to disappear into the roles that others create for you. You are here to live your own truth, fully and with quiet confidence. When someone urges you to tone it down, what they are truly saying is, I am more comfortable when you are smaller. I prefer an edited version of you. That is a quiet rejection of your essence. It whispers that your way of being, your beliefs, your very presence is somehow incorrect or excessive. If you absorb these messages over time, you begin to erase parts of yourself. You start to doubt the very things that once gave you life. You may even begin to apologize for simply being you. And that is not the life you have worked so hard to cultivate. Consider a person who once expressed their joy freely. Perhaps they wore bright colors, it played music in their home, and shared their passion with their community. But after being told they were embarrassing or needed to act a certain way, they stopped. They muted their own colors, silenced their own joy, and believed they were being considerate by disappearing a little. Years can pass like this. Their inner light dims, their spirit quiets, until one day they may look in the mirror and ask, who have I become? That moment of recognition can be a turning point. They can choose themselves again. They can remember that their uniqueness was never a flaw. It was their nature. The people who ask you to change are often those who have not come to terms with who they are. Their discomfort with you is a mirror, reflecting their own inner discord. Do not carry that reflection for them. Do not drain yourself trying to earn their conditional approval. You are not here to please, you are here to be. An ancient teaching reminds us, the great privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That privilege is sacred. So, protect your sacred self. Refuse to apologize for your own evolution. Refuse to accommodate those who only appreciate a version of you that remains silent, agreeable, and small. You do not need to shrink to maintain peace. You do not need to dim your light to make others feel secure in their own shadows. Let them adjust to your brightness or let them walk away. But you remain whole. If this insight resonates, affirm this for yourself and others. I honor who I am without apology. Let it be known that you are no longer making yourself small for the comfort of others. Your truth deserves to be lived. 6. Do not be compelled to place another's feelings above your own. There is a subtle form of emotional pressure that often hides in plain sight. It can wear the mask of care, of concern, of deep connection. But underneath, it carries a silent demand. Make me feel comfortable, even if it costs you your own well-being. You may have heard it in the gentle tone of guilt, in a quiet sigh when you drew a boundary, or in the disappointed silence that follows when you choose your own path. Each time, you may unconsciously surrender a piece of your inner authority, because another person's ease has been allowed to matter more than your truth. When others consistently expect you to make yourself smaller to keep the peace, they are asking for you to sacrifice your authentic self for their convenience. This is not care, it is control. It is not compromise, it is emotional leverage disguised as love. The more you yield to it, the more you lose contact with your true self. Timeless wisdom teaches that to become who we are meant to be often requires us to lovingly disengage from people who benefit from us remaining small. These are the ones who praise your selflessness until it inconveniences them. They admire your strength until that strength creates a boundary they do not like. They prefer the version of you that is always available, always agreeable, always yielding, even when it harms you. When someone asks you to put their emotional state ahead of your own truth, they are not seeking connection, they are seeking to control the story. They want to shape your path so they can feel better about their own. When you resist, they may call you selfish or distant. But the truth is, choosing yourself is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of deep healing. It is the reclamation of your sacred right to exist as a whole person, imperfect, evolving, and free. You were not brought into this world to be someone else's emotional caretaker. You are not here to manage other people's reactions to your growth. You are certainly not responsible for soothing their insecurities every time you evolve. The more you mold yourself to please others, the more you disappear from your own life. This is a quiet fading of the spirit. When your life becomes a stage for another's inner drama, some will try to make you feel guilty for seeking your own peace. They will say, "You've changed," as if it were an accusation. But that statement is often a sign that you are moving in the right direction, because the people who truly support you do not ask you to abandon yourself to prove your affection. They do not demand your well-being as a sacrifice for their comfort. They celebrate your evolution even when it challenges them. They want you to live fully, not just to exist in a role that keeps them feeling safe. Stay away from people who ask for these things: your silence when your soul needs to express itself, your guilt when you have done no wrong, your life force when they offer nothing in return, your presence when it costs you your peace, and your joy when it makes them insecure. These are not small requests. These are disturbances to your inner sovereignty. The more you agree to them, the more you will find yourself living a life that does not feel like your own. You are not selfish for wanting space. You are not cruel for protecting your peace. And you are not wrong for choosing yourself over another's comfort. In fact, that may be the most courageous thing you ever do. In a world that often demands compliance, your true freedom lies in your refusal to betray your own spirit. If this resonates deep within you, say it with me. I honor my truth. I will no longer shrink for the comfort of others. 7. Protect your inner peace above all else. Peace is not merely a feeling. It is the natural state of your spirit. When you protect it, you are guarding the most sacred part of your being. In this world, your peace will be tested by those who want your life, force without earning your trust, by those who see empathy as a weakness to be used, and by those who mistake control for connection. Your peace is invaluable, and once you recognize its worth, you will cease to negotiate it with those who have not earned it. There will be times when drawing a boundary feels uncomfortable. You might worry about how you are perceived. But saying no is not an act of rejection. It is an act of redirection. It is the highest form of self-respect. Every time you say no to chaos, to guilt, to manipulation, you are saying yes to your own healing, your own growth, and your own clarity. It is not your task to manage how others interpret your boundaries. Your responsibility is to uphold them with quiet resolve. Some people will never understand your need for boundaries because they benefited from you having none. They may call your silence arrogance and your distance a betrayal. But the truth is, when someone does not respect your boundaries, they do not truly respect you. If their affection is only present when you are available, agreeable, and self-sacrificing, then what they value is your compliance, not your true self. Real connection recognizes the need for space. Real respect honors a no without resentment. Protecting your peace sometimes looks like walking away from a conversation. Sometimes it means turning off your phone and choosing not to offer an explanation. It might mean declining an invitation that feels heavy or refusing to engage in family drama out of obligation. It means saying, I choose my inner stillness, not with bitterness, but with clarity. Ancient wisdom says, one who looks outward dreams. One who looks inward awakens. When you look within and see the fatigue, the overwhelm, the misalignment, you do not owe anyone an explanation for realigning your life. People may say, you've changed. That is natural. Growth often looks like distance to those who have remained still. Peace requires releasing false duties. You were not born to be another savior, therapist, or emotional support. The more you heal, the more you will recognize that your life force is precious, and not everyone is meant to draw from your well. The next time someone requests your time, your energy, your forgiveness, or your presence, pause and ask yourself, does this serve my inner peace? Does this honor my path? Does this feel like alignment or a detour into old patterns? If the answer feels heavy, confusing, or forced, then the answer is already no. You do not need to defend your peace, you simply need to embody it. True peace does not beg to be kept, it demands to be protected. Let your boundaries be the guardians at the gate. Let your silence speak more powerfully than forced words. And let your life reflect this one profound truth. Peace is not found in pleasing others. It is found in remaining loyal to your own spirit. To affirm your commitment to this path, you can comment, I protect my peace. Let it be your inner vow that you choose calm over chaos and boundaries over burnout. Your life's force is sacred. Guard it as if your life depends on it, because it does. And remember, true transformation begins with awareness. Sometimes the most powerful act of self-care is simply to walk away. If this insight has resonated, like this video, share it with someone who may need this wisdom and subscribe for more insights that empower your journey. Turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming explorations that help you awaken, align, and find your center. Walk in wisdom. Stay protected. Be true to yourself. 8 signs a person close to you harbors hidden resentment. The most profound challenge is to accept oneself without judgment. Have you ever felt a subtle discord when someone offers you praise, as if their words are a mask for the energy behind them? This is not a trick of the mind. It is your intuition sensing the inner turmoil that old wisdom speaks of. The hidden envy, the quiet resentment, all veiled by a polite smile. Today, we will explore 8 subtle signals that someone close to you may secretly carry resentment towards you. These insights are not meant to create suspicion, but to cultivate self-protection and emotional clarity. Have you encountered this in your own life? Share your experience in the comments. We are all here to grow and awaken together. Chapter 1. Sarcasm as a veiled weapon. When someone close to you consistently disguises cruelty as humor, it is not a sign of affection, it is a sign of contempt. Sarcasm, when used as a weapon, is one of the most overlooked signals of hidden hostility. These are not harmless jests. They are targeted disturbances aimed at your insecurities. The words may sound light, but their energetic impact is heavy. You might laugh along, but deep inside, your spirit feels a disruption it cannot ignore. The phrase, "It was only a joke," becomes their shield. Every time you flinch or withdraw, they use it as an escape. But these jokes always seem to land where you are most vulnerable: your appearance, your goals, your values. This is not by chance, it is targeted. When humor consistently leaves you feeling small or unsettled, that is not an accident. It is a form of emotional manipulation. Their sarcasm is a quiet method of controlling the emotional environment, of keeping you unbalanced without ever raising their voice. Ancient teachings speak of the inner discord we carry, the unhealed parts of ourselves we deny and sometimes cast upon others. Sarcastic comments often reveal more about the one who speaks them than the one who receives them. Behind a joke that cuts too deeply lies a current of unaddressed envy, insecurity, or resentment. Instead of facing those feelings within, these individuals project them outward at you. And because it is wrapped in humor, you are made to feel that your discomfort is the problem. But your intuition does not lie. When your gut tightens, when your spirit feels diminished in someone's presence, you must pay attention. The person who constantly teases you may not be teasing at all. They might be leaking their own inner turmoil into your light. And no matter how composed their smile, the damage adds up. Over time, you begin to shrink, not just around them, but within yourself. True connection uplifts. It does not hide daggers in laughter. If someone's humor consistently makes you feel less than, that is a clear signal, one that should not be dismissed. The truth is, their inner state meant it, and your body felt it long before your mind could articulate it. Have you ever laughed with someone, only to walk away feeling drained or insulted? If this resonates, comment below. I have felt this energy, so others know they are not alone, and we can continue to explore these truths that protect our peace. Chapter 2. Subtle Sabotage. They do not attack you openly. They diminish your spirit with small, quiet dismissals that you are conditioned to ignore. Again and again, they seem to forget your important moments. They miss the celebration of your achievement, your birthday, your new beginning. When you need support, they become silent. When you ask for guidance, they offer suggestions that gently nudge you in the wrong direction, disguised as help, but designed to disrupt. This is not forgetfulness. It is calculated, quiet sabotage. And the most difficult part is that they smile as they do it, making you doubt your own intuition. What makes this so hard to see is how they wrap their neglect in politeness. They will say things like, "I truly meant to be there," or "something just came up," time and again. Yet when it is their moment, they expect your complete attention. They hold you accountable for their needs, but offer none of that accountability in return. At first, you may make excuses for them. Perhaps they are busy. Perhaps they didn't realize how much it mattered. But over time, a clear pattern forms. That pattern whispers a truth your spirit already recognizes. They do not truly support you. Their actions declare it, even if their words do not. And their silence in the face of your success. That silence can be the loudest sound in the room. People like this erode your confidence, not with overt criticism, but with an invisible weight. When you speak of your dreams, they may nod and offer lukewarm words, just enough to appear supportive, but not enough to actually uplift you. They might say, "Are you certain you're ready for that?" Or, "That is a big step, isn't it?" And if things go well, they will minimize your victory. "Oh, anyone could have done that." Or, "You were just lucky." It is a slow chipping away through 1,000 small dismissals. And somehow, you end up doubting yourself, your worth, your ideas, when the real obstacle was not internal, but external. This behavior often stems from an unexamined part of the self, a place in the human spirit that hides what people do not want to admit, like jealousy or resentment. Rather than address these feelings directly, some people project them sideways through sabotage that looks like concern. They do not want to face their own envy, so instead they quietly undercut you, hoping you will falter, so they will not have to feel left behind. This is not always a conscious act, but it is dangerous. While you are being open and honest, they may be quietly plotting, usually under the guise of friendship. This appears in our lives more than we admit: a colleague who never acknowledges your contribution, a sibling who changes the subject when you share something you're proud of, a friend who only calls when they want something. They do not argue, they do not insult. They just fail you in small ways over and over until you start to shrink, until you stop shining so brightly just to maintain the peace. But real connection does not ask you to dim your light. Real support does not vanish when you succeed. These people are masters of the veil. If you continue to give them the benefit of the doubt, you will find yourself drained, insecure, and confused. That is the goal of quiet sabotage, to make you doubt yourself so much that you never realize the source of the doubt was them. Recognizing this pattern is essential for your healing. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Not everyone who applauds is happy for you. Not everyone who says, "I am proud of you," means it from their heart. If someone in your life consistently leaves you feeling unsupported or deflated, do not ignore that feeling. Their energy is the evidence. If this resonates, leave a comment. I choose aligned, loving connections to affirm your commitment to relationships that nourish your spirit. Chapter 3. A silent competition. Every time you achieve something, there is a flicker in their eyes, a brief pause in their praise, a shift in their tone. They offer a smile, but it feels like a mask, because deep down, your success is not something they celebrate. It is a yardstick they use to measure themselves. Your growth is not just growth, it is an unknowing challenge to their own sense of worth. What you see as a victory, they secretly experience as a loss, and instead of cheering for you, they mentally prepare their response a story about their own success, a subtle one, upmanship, a reminder that you are not getting ahead of them. This is not friendship, it is a quiet competition. It is not loud or openly jealous. It whispers its presence in every reaction that feels slightly misaligned. You talk about something that fills you with pride, and suddenly they divert the conversation. You shine, and they find a way to dim the light in the room, just enough so no one else notices. You feel drained, not from your efforts, but from being in the presence of someone who turns every moment into a contest. They do not clap when you win, they calculate. They do not walk beside you, they secretly race against you. And there is no finish line, because they are not participating for joy, they are participating for ego. You start to second guess yourself. You wonder if perhaps you are just too sensitive. But ancient wisdom reminds us, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Their irritation at your growth reveals their own refusal to grow. Their envy is not truly about you, it is about the parts of themselves they have neglected. When your confidence enters the room, it confronts their insecurity. When your ambition finds its voice, it exposes their stagnation. This is why they compete. They do not know how to face their own stillness. Instead of healing, they project. Instead of evolving, they compare. You were never in a competition. You were simply trying to become. But now you find yourself in an invisible battle with someone who pretends to love you, but quietly resents your ascent. And here lies the danger. You might begin to make yourself smaller to keep the peace. You might water down your truth to be more digestible for people who never intended to grow with you. You might silence your own joy so they do not feel inadequate. But that is not your responsibility. Your light is not a threat, it is a mirror. What they see in you is a reflection of what they refuse to face in themselves. This is the energy that drains you without a word being spoken. This is the energy that hides behind compliments, but always carries the undercurrent of envy. When resentment wears the costume of friendship, it becomes a slow poison. It does not attack, it erodes. And if you are not aware, you will begin to normalize that erosion. You will keep these people close because they have never done anything overtly wrong. But energy does not lie. Silence can scream. Pay attention. True friends do not compete, they inspire. They do not flinch at your light, they amplify it. They do not feel threatened by your transformation, they celebrate it, because they too are on a path of growth. If your presence makes someone insecure, it is not your duty to shrink, it is their responsibility to heal. Did you find this helpful? If so, please comment "awesome" below so we can continue to explore this kind of deep wisdom together. Chapter 4. Kindness without substance. Their compliments sound pleasant, but something in your gut feels amiss. You hear, "I'm so happy for you," or "You did a wonderful job." Yet, there is a hollow feeling behind the words. The smile on their face does not seem to connect with their eyes. You notice it, even as you try to dismiss it. It's that quiet inner voice that whispers, "They do not genuinely mean this." This is not paranoia, This is your intuition at work. Ancient wisdom teaches that what we fail to bring into our awareness will guide our lives from the shadows. That includes the hidden resentment that can lie beneath polite exteriors. True friends don't just speak kind words, they radiate a warmth that you feel. Real support is felt in the heart. Superficial kindness, however, feels like an embrace from someone who is emotionally absent. You sense it when their energy does not align with their words. The conversation feels like a script. They use the correct phrases. I support you. You deserve this. Great work. But their true presence is missing. There's no genuine eye contact, no empathy in their voice. The entire interaction feels mechanical, as if they are acting from a sense of duty rather than authentic care. This is the result of inner discord, envy, frustration, or competition dressed up in politeness. Though they may never say a single hurtful word, their energy quietly drains you. You leave conversations with them feeling confused, as if something just does not add up. You might begin to notice that they only appear when it benefits them. They may celebrate your successes in public, but in private, they go silent. When you are facing a challenge, they offer vague words of support, but they are quick to vanish when you need genuine emotional presence. A person who secretly resents you will not attack you. They will avoid you, or worse, stay just close enough to observe, but far enough away that they never have to uplift you. They will applaud with the crowd, but you will feel the hesitation in their applause. You will sense the pause behind their congratulations. This kind of subtle emotional sabotage is hard to articulate, but your spirit feels the disconnect, even if your mind cannot find tangible evidence. Their politeness begins to feel like a performance. Every kind word seems rehearsed. Every compliment feels like a transaction. You might start to wonder if you're imagining things, especially because nothing overt has happened. But that is the nature of this trap. The most damaging resentment is not the loud kind, it is the quiet kind, masked by proper etiquette. And if you ignore it for long enough, it will erode your energy, your self-trust, and your emotional clarity. The truth is, genuine affection never needs a script. It flows. But resentment rehearses every word to maintain a clean surface. When someone's kindness lacks a soul, when their support feels more like a strategy than sincerity, it is not just awkward, it is toxic. The longer you remain in their energy, the more your own spirit begins to dim. We must bring these things into the light, or they will control us from the dark. So, when you feel that off vibration from someone who is being nice, pay attention. You are not being overly sensitive. You are reading energy with accuracy. Energy does not lie. Words can. If you have ever felt the chill behind a warm smile, you are not alone. Subscribe for more insights on discerning false kindness and building truly authentic connections. Chapter 5. Control disguised as care. Their words sound like wisdom, but the result is always the same. Your own vision becomes smaller. You speak your truth. They nod with a look of concern, and suddenly you are doubting yourself. They say it is for your own well-being, but somehow you always end up discouraged, hesitant, or quietly abandoning what sets your spirit alight. This is not love, it is control, wearing the mask of protection. What they call advice is often their attempt to keep you in a place that feels safe for them, not for you. Timeless wisdom teaches that people who cannot manage their own inner chaos will often try to control their outer world to create an illusion of safety. Their internal disorder projects outward, not through anger, but through soft, spoken warnings and logical sounding arguments. And because they sound so calm and rational, you believe them. You internalize their fear and mistake it for your own. You shrink and call it maturity. You settle and call it wisdom. But pay close attention, their concern always flows in one direction, away from your expansion. They never say, "How can I support you in this?" They ask, "Are you sure? What if you fail?" They push you toward comfort, but never toward freedom. Behind their guidance is a hidden message: do not change. Because if you change, you might leave behind the version of yourself they know how to manage. This dynamic can play out anywhere in families, friendships, and relationships. You tell your family you wish to leave a secure job to pursue a calling, and they say, just be grateful for the stability you have. You tell your partner you wish to create something new, and they say, but you don't have the time for that. You mention moving to a new place, and a friend says, but everything you need is right here. Each time, you are left to wonder if your own desires are selfish or unrealistic. It's more than discouragement. It is emotional scripting. You begin to believe that dreaming big is a danger, that wanting more is a betrayal, and that growth means losing love. That is the real trap. When fear is dressed as care, you can confuse control for closeness. The part of them that feels unsafe and insecure reaches out and quietly tries to steer your life. This is not because they hate you, but because they have not made peace with their own inner world. But you do not owe anyone your smallness. Your vision does not require their permission, and real love, authentic support, will never stand in the way of your evolution. It will not cage you to feel secure. It will not shrink you to avoid its own fear of abandonment. It will walk beside you, even if your path makes it uncomfortable. True care is not about control. It is about trust and believing in your light, even when it outshines their own inner shadows. If this message has opened your eyes today, leave a comment of truth. I trust my path. I release control and walk boldly in my purpose. And be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful insights each week. Chapter 6. Gossip and criticism in the shadows. They will not confront you directly. Instead, they will chip away at your spirit with whispers. Their words move through social circles like smoke, twisting your intentions and planting seeds of doubt in the minds of others. Suddenly, you are left wondering why the energy in a room shifts when you walk in. Why do people pause before they speak to you? This is not paranoia. It is a reaction to the quiet sabotage of someone who pretends to be your supporter while creating a distorted version of you that serves their own insecurities. Ancient teachings tell us that the unexamined parts of ourselves, the parts we reject, will often leak out through manipulation and gossip. They do not just talk, they inject a subtle venom so it cannot be easily traced back to them. They say just enough to make others question you. All the while, their smiles remain polite, but their words travel in secret, draining your relationships and your inner peace. The reason they do this, it's not your success or your kindness. It is the way your light illuminates their own unresolved wounds. These individuals avoid direct conflict because it would require honesty, and honesty demands a vulnerability they are not willing to face. Instead, they manipulate perception. They isolate you, not by removing you from a group, but by poisoning how others see you. It is a slow, silent process, and it can work if you are not awake to it. You start to second-guess yourself. You tone down your own personality. You shrink to make the atmosphere feel lighter. But the truth is, what they say about you behind your back is a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Their criticism reveals their own shame. Their gossip reveals their envy. And often, they frame their criticism as concern. I'm just worried about her. They will say as they tear apart your choices, I just think he is changing. They will whisper while resenting your growth. This kind of manipulation is dangerous because it can sound like care, but genuine care does not operate in the shadows. True friends speak directly, protect your name when you are not there, and will tell you a hard truth to your face, not to others behind your back. If someone close to you is spreading rumors or twisting your words, they do not just dislike you, they resent you. The more you rise, the more their inner imbalance panics. You owe it to yourself to recognize these signs, not to seek revenge, but to protect your peace. Because being around someone who secretly harbors this energy is like drinking poisoned water. It may look clear, but it is slowly killing something vital inside of you. Have you ever felt the sting of being misunderstood due to whispers you could feel but not hear? If so, share your experience in the comments so others know they are not alone. And if you have ever stayed silent while someone twisted your truth, comment, I choose truth, and let us stand strong together. Chapter 7. No joy in your success. They smiled when you were struggling. They applauded your effort. But now that you are actually succeeding, they are strangely quiet. That silence is not a coincidence, it is a message. When someone close to you quietly withdraws as you begin to rise, it is often because your growth is confronting something they have not faced within themselves. Ancient wisdom speaks of the shadow, the hidden parts of our spirit that we disown and project onto others. Your light has now become a threat to their darkness. They did not mind you climbing as long as they believed you would never reach the top. They were comfortable with you when you were struggling alongside them. But now, your success exposes their own stagnation. Your happiness is a reminder of their discontent. You have done nothing wrong, yet in their eyes, you have become too much, too bright, too free. Instead of cheering, they retreat. They make excuses. They create distance. Not because you have changed, but because you have outgrown the version of you that made them feel safe. It often begins in subtle ways. The congratulations grow quieter. The responses to your joy feel rehearsed. When you share your good news, they change the subject. When you celebrate, they downplay it. It is not just what they say, it is what they do not say. Their silence during your moments of joy speaks much louder than their applause. During your moments of pain, when someone's heart is secretly in competition with you, your success does not inspire them, it wounds them. And yet, they were always present when you were hurting. When life was difficult, they had time for you. When you doubted yourself, they offered words of comfort. But now that you believe in yourself, now that your light is shining, they disappear because your light reveals their own inner turmoil. Timeless wisdom teaches that people who cannot handle their inner state will often distance themselves from those who remind them of what they could become. Your success becomes a mirror they are unwilling to look into. True friends grow with you. They evolve with you. They are not intimidated by your wings. They help you learn to fly. But envious people will not attack you. They will simply fade away. They will use phrases like, "I'm just busy," or "You have changed," to mask what they truly feel left behind. Their emotional withdrawal is not about setting boundaries. It is about a bruised ego. Your joy bruises their pride, and instead of doing the inner work to heal, they choose the easier path: silence, distance, and quiet resentment. But your progress is not an offense. Your happiness is not a betrayal. Their discomfort is not your burden to carry. You do not have to shrink just to keep someone comfortable in your light. You were not meant to stay small so that others could feel big. If they cannot clap when you win, they were never on your team. Growth will always reveal who was clapping from the heart and who was clapping for control. Their silence is their confession. Their distance is their choice. And your continued rise is your truth. Keep climbing. Keep glowing. Let your joy be loud, even if it makes others quiet. Because the ones meant for you will never fear your light. They will reflect it. Comment below, "I celebrate my growth unapologetically." If you are done shrinking for others, let's rise boldly and in truth. Chapter 8. The body's language never lies. Their words may say, "I am happy for you," but their body speaks a different truth. The smile they offer is tense. Their eyes avoid contact. The energy in the room shifts in a way that is subtle but unmistakable. You can feel it. It is not what they said. It is how they stood, how they looked away for a fraction of a second too long. The wise have always known that the unconscious mind reveals itself even when the conscious mind tries to hide it. This is precisely what happens when hidden resentment leaks through the cracks of a polite conversation. You do not need a degree to understand these signals. Your intuition already does. The uneasy feeling in your gut is not random. The tightness in your chest is not paranoia. It is your body translating micro signals: stiff posture, folded arms, delayed responses, compliments that lack warmth. These are not accidental. They are the unconscious confessions of the body. The body cannot lie, even when the mouth is speaking. And yet, so often, we doubt ourselves. We tell ourselves they are just tired or distracted. but patterns always reveal the truth. When someone consistently reacts to your achievements with tension or withdrawal, you are not imagining it. Their resentment may be silent, but it is not invisible. It shows in the way they change the topic. When you share good news, it reveals itself in the forced smile when others are praising you. It leaks out in their lack of genuine enthusiasm, the emotional vacancy behind their congratulations. Real friends do not compete with your light, they rise with it. When you grow, they feel inspired, not threatened. When you shine, they do not squint, they celebrate. That shared joy is the sign of an authentic connection. On the other hand, someone who secretly harbors resentment will always find a way to dim the moment. Not by arguing, but by slowly pulling back their energy, their support, their warmth. This silent withdrawal becomes more painful over time because it is not just what they do, but what they withhold. They do not clap when you succeed. They do not ask how it feels. They do not celebrate your joy with their full presence. Instead, they nod while secretly stepping away on the inside. That distance is not physical, it is emotional. It is spiritual. It is the kind of quiet sabotage that leaves you questioning your own worth, your path, and your perception of reality. So, watch the body, feel the energy, trust the space between the words, because that is where the truth lives. The micro-expressions, the pull of energy, the hesitations, they reveal everything the mouth refuses to admit. When someone says, "I am proud of you," but they look like they are in pain, listen to their expression, not their words. Your body knows, your intuition remembers, your spirit feels every shift. The deeper lesson is this: you are not here to shrink for another's comfort. You are not meant to dim your light, to protect another's shadow. Pay attention to what remains unspoken, for that is where truth resides. To affirm your trust in this inner knowing, declare it now. Comment below, "I trust what I feel." To honor your intuition and inspire others to read beyond words and see the truth the body reveals. Thank you for joining this exploration into the hidden layers of human emotion and energy. If any of these signs resonated, remember to trust your intuition, protect your peace, and never apologize for sensing what others attempt to conceal. You deserve connections built on authenticity, not on secret resentment. If you found value in this insight, please like this video, share it with someone who needs this wisdom, and subscribe for more guidance like this. Turn on notifications so you never miss an episode that can shift your perspective and protect your energy. Until next time, walk in wisdom and remain empowered.